is up, y'all? I hope it's not too noisy because this is on location. I am in Bern, Idaho, visiting some family, which I call them family now. I care about them a lot. And I'm gonna miss this place because this is my last day here in Bern. Tomorrow we're going up to Idaho Falls, and then we're going on a backpacking trip up in the Sawtooth Mountains. I think that's what you call it, 5 days. Can't wait for it, but I'm gonna miss this place a lot. But I care about these people tremendously, and I'm blown away at the changes that I see them making cumulatively over time, incrementally. Every time I come here, I see something that's different and changed in the way they're eating, with their condiments, and specifically this time I noticed that they have just gotten rid of all the toxic fats. And so that's what I want to talk to you today. I want to talk to you about the importance of getting rid of these highly processed plant-based oils. Now, the simplest and easiest thing that you can do for your health without considering overhauling everything would be to swap out the highly processed plant-based oils with more traditional fats. And we've become a big fan of small incremental changes here lately versus people just overhauling everything, because it seems to be way more sustainable to do something small and then add to that as time goes on, something small that's manageable. And what you want is something that's going to give you a big win and give you some noticeable results. So I want to talk a little bit about why this is so important. And you know, if you want to look better, if you want to feel better, if you want to have better health over time, if you want your body composition to normalize, you've got to get rid of these highly processed oils. Like most people, for most of my life, I was kind of fat phobic. I did a lot of the egg whites and tuna fish and chicken and broccoli and salads, and I avoided red meat and saturated fat and things like that. And I was exposed to all these fats and oils not really knowing that they were a problem. And that landed me in the worst health that I've ever had in my entire life. You know, in my mid-30s, I was 275 pounds, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, horrible digestive issues, on my way to having some pretty significant cardiovascular disease. And then that's when I had my wake-up call. Like, I was like, okay, like, obviously I'm not doing everything right, but I'm trying really hard. So maybe some of what I think is healthy is not. And that opened the door for me to be open-minded and learn some new info. And that's when I found the gift of ancestral health. And so in ancestral health, you know, I have completely turned my health around, both objectively with blood work and other measurements, and then also subjectively in how I look, feel, and perform. And we see identical results in all of our clients and progression ease. And the most important thing that we can probably do is, as a first step, get rid of these toxic plant-based oils. So these oils, here's what the problem is with these oils. First of all, the oils that we're talking about specifically are going to be vegetable. And by the way, there's nothing vegetable about vegetable oil. It's a combo of all these other highly processed oils. Canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, the main ones. And those are things that you're going to see ubiquitous in restaurants and all processed foods and things that you just don't know is there, okay? But then also things like safflower oil, rice bran oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil. These are highly processed plant-based oils that have been sold to us as a healthier alternative to saturated fats and animal fats, when in reality, those are the fats that we need. The reason these oils are so bad for us is, number one, they're extremely damaging and inflammatory inside the body. Number two, the body will take these oils up and try to build itself with them. But we're not made of these oils. We're not supposed to be made of these oils. These oils, once the body builds itself with these oils, the body becomes less rigid, less strong, less stable. And number three, it reduces the body's ability to use the right kind of fats for fuel. So it clogs up the energy creation system inside the mitochondria and in the body in general. And most of us would prefer to use fat for fuel and use body fat for fuel and be fueled by fat. And so in our efforts to do this, this completely derails it, and it makes us more carb dependent, because once we lose our ability to use fat for fuel, there's only one other energy source, and that's glucose. And so that leads to higher insulin resistance, and it's without even talking about increasing or decreasing your carb amounts. What we want to do is swap these out for what I like to call traditional fats. And we call them traditional because they're things that our great-grandparents consumed. They're things that we can imagine our ancestors consumed for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So things like butter. Butter comes from a cow, all right? Butter, yes, it's saturated, but that's the kind of saturated fat that our cells make themselves of. And that's the kind of saturated fat that our body can use for energy very easy. So butter is our number one, or ghee if you're kind of dairy intolerant. We also love olive oil, we love coconut oil, we love the animal fats like lard and tallow and duck fat and chicken fat and lamb fat and things like that. Avocado oil is pretty okay. But anyway, these are fats that the body can use to create itself structure-wise. They're not inflammatory or damaging at all, and there's things that the body can use for energy very easy, which means that in the space in between our meals, since the body's learning how to use these appropriate traditional fats for energy, it's an easy switch to go to our body fat for energy. And without these traditional fats, you're not going to be able to do that. So if this is something that's hard for you to believe for some reason, then I would just recommend doing some reading or something. Like, it's not, I'm not the only one saying this, okay? One of my favorite books that came out recently is The Fat Burn Fix by Dr. Kate Shanahan. She's one of my favorite people in the world, MD, PhD. We had to read her book, Deep Nutrition, back in NTP school back in 2010, and it was a game changer. And she's super knowledgeable, super scientific, and also super layman's. And you'll notice when you read this book, if you've been following us for any amount of time, like, a lot of what she says we've been saying for 10 years. We've been saying a lot of what she's saying, but she says it maybe a little bit better and with a little bit more science behind it. So that would be a really good book for you to read. And then if you have a problem embracing animal foods, one of the biggest problems we're facing right now is this idea that we need to move away from animal foods and towards plant foods. Plant foods are great. We need a combination of both, though. And so if you have a problem embracing animal foods and saturated fats, then my top pick is going to be the book Sacred Cow. Sacred Cow is a non-judgmental, almost neutral look at the way that we're supposed to eat as human beings and the way that herbivores and ruminants have kind of built this planet and contribute to the soil that we need. And they talk a lot about regenerative agriculture and things like that. But if you have any question or doubt about the health of consuming animal foods, then that would be my top pick. And if you consider yourself a real foodie, and you're listening or watching this and you're thinking to yourself, like, you already know, you already got it figured out, you're already kind of anti-butter and anti-meat because of everything you heard. If you consider yourself a real foodie, then you need to educate yourself on all sides. I've read the China study. I've read all the top popular vegan books. I was vegan for 2 years. So if you automatically have some resistance to this because this is what you think you believe, then I would still go ahead and read these books because you may get a different perspective and you may learn something new, okay? So anyway, we're big fans of making small incremental changes. The first, most important, most powerful thing that you can do is ditch the toxic fats, ditch the highly processed plant-based oils, and opt for more traditional fats. And if you do that at home, even though you can't control that much when you're out and eating at restaurants and fast food and things like that, that's going to be a really big win for you. And of course, the problem is, like, eating out, you don't control, what's in your food, and these oils are in everything. But if you control what's at home, I think you're going to start to look, feel, and perform better, and that will give you motivation to do some more good things. Okay. So any questions, comments, feedback, snide remarks, you can send them our way, and we will talk to you guys soon.